camera. Where's the camera, Olive?
Olive.
Oh, hi. Hi.
My cheese here.
I suppose I must have changed because I work as a speech therapist and I've always worked with disabled kids or kids with language difficulties and communication problems. I always had this expectation on parents, and I laugh now thinking about it. I used to send them home with therapy programs and be like, so 30 minutes a day, make sure you do it, and then they'd come back 6 weeks later or whatever, and they'd be like, oh, we've tried, we haven't had much chance, I might do a couple of minutes. And I used to be like, okay, well, you really need to try. And since I had kids, and especially since I've had a disabled child, I'm like, who has got 30 minutes in a day to do a therapy program? So in terms of my practice as a speech therapist, that's massively changed. And there must have been some kind of effect on me as a person. I think I'm a bit easier on myself, just like, it's not realistic, some of the things I expect myself to do. But then at the same time, I feel like I put more pressure on myself to get things done.
Olive, look at you. Just put some on me. Is it sticking?
So we refer to her as being deaf because it's not that she's got hearing that's impaired or hearing that she's lost. She's deaf, that's part of who she is. So she's profoundly deaf, but she has now had cochlear implants since we last saw you. So she does have access to hearing and sound, and she uses that to tell us when she doesn't want to do something. That's her go-to way of having a tantrum, because she can't storm off, because she can't walk. So, and she can't talk, so she can't tell us where to go, or she doesn't want to do something, so she'll pull her implants off and look us dead in the eye as if to go, I'm not listening to what you have to say to me. So back then we only knew of Olive being deaf, but now we know that she can't walk or sit or stand unaided, and that's likely to be how she's going to be for the rest of her life as she gets stronger, but she's not likely to be mobile, and she's going to need a lot of support to do things, and we don't know if she'll ever talk.
Wow, Olive.
Glitter on my...
Yeah.
Can I have some of these and glitter on my nails?
The cerebral palsy, because we didn't get a diagnosis till last year, but Reese and I kind of had our suspicions because we work with kids with CP, so we spotted things. Listen to you snoring. We spotted things and had a bit of an inkling that there was something, so before we got the formal diagnosis we knew, but I think support around that has been less. We haven't got a group of people who have CP that we go and talk to and meet with and can put our mind at rest about things, and I think the deafness is just not a big deal for us, but the cerebral palsy has been harder to come to terms with. So whilst I'm laid back in some ways, I'm also like, right, I've got to get all of these things done because there's a time limit, because she's only small for so long, and we've got to get things in place, and we've got to teach her to talk, and we've got to get all this and the other. So yeah, maybe I'm harder on myself in some ways and then easier on myself in others, but I don't know. You could be a baker when you're older.
Yeah.
I think you'd be a good baker. With Olive, it's a different kind of guilt, and I think it's if I did something wrong during pregnancy, I've got like this kind of thing that I harbour around that about, did I do so? And I know I didn't, like logically in my head there's nothing I could have done differently, but now there's also this guilt of, are we doing the right thing by giving her a cochlear implant? Are we doing the right thing by making her go to physio? Are we doing the right thing by picking the nursery for her? Everything has like that additional layer for her. If I see kids or adults sort of looking at her implants, I'll try and explain it to them and get in there first, because people get embarrassed about it, they don't want to ask. I try and be a bit more, I don't know, open about explaining Olive's needs to people. Do you want some more? You have to tell me. I feel like I've got a lot on my shoulders, much more with Olive, and the experience is different. It's like being two different mums at the same time, because I've got Connie, who my hopes and aspirations for her are very different, and what I expect from her is very different, and I think Olive coming along has put a lot of pressure on Connie as well. Connie's never known any different, and also for her it's also been a gradual experience of learning about Olive, and kids just come with this, they just don't have any preconceptions about anything, do they? They just take you on face value, and Connie has always been like that with Olive. Just whatever we talk about with Olive, she just accepts it. So for a long time she still referred to Olive as a baby, and even though Olive's not technically a baby anymore, like obviously she falls asleep on me, and to all intents and purposes she looks like a baby, but a massive one. So because she can't walk and talk and do the things that children her age can, I had to say to Connie, but she's not a baby, it's just that she's got a disability. And I've been really conscious of using words straight off. I don't want to like make it sort of childish so that she understands it. I just want to be really clear. She came home from nursery and she was so excited because when she was in nursery she'd seen Olive playing and she'd seen that Olive's implant had fallen off, and she ran over and she put Olive's implant back on for her, and she was like, "Mummy," and I found the bump and I put it back on for her, and she was really happy because I helped her. And I was just like, I said, "I'm so proud of you because you helped your sister." And I don't want her to feel like she's always got to help her, because that is a massive burden for her to carry, because I think she already feels like that. But I get upset thinking about it. But I think with Connie, she just takes it on board and she's really caring and she loves Olive to bits. And I don't know if the feeling's mutual. I think Olive quite often like bops or decks Connie when she's trying to help her, but Connie's just really patient with her. I think that's why sometimes I'm a bit hard on myself with Connie, because she's so good, I'll expect her now to wait, and I'm like, just wait. And I'm really trying clock up how many times today have I said wait because I've got to do this for Olive, or I can't do that, I'm holding Olive, and I get that people do that when they've got babies, but that is always going to be Connie's life. That's never going to change. I'm always going to be doing something for Olive, so I have to stop myself now and again and go, wait, Olive can wait, I'm doing something for Connie. And how many eggs do we need? 3 eggs. So I'll leave the eggs there, you can help me. She asks me things about like, why can't Olive do this, and when I tell her, she's just like, okay. She just doesn't faze her at all, and I think that's just how I want people in general to be about Olive, but it's just lovely that a big sister can be like that. Oh, excuse you! That was a funny noise.